Hiya folks, Fuzz here and welcome to the first episode of our Let's Play in Star Ocean The Last Hope, the 4K and full HD remaster edition that has recently been released on PS4 and on Steam. So this is a game I played a lot back in 2010 when it was released on the PS3. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't platinum it back then, but hopefully we'll get to do so on this attempt. There's a heck of a lot to do in this game, so take this as a warning before you get stuck in. If you want to get the platinum for The Last Hope, you can expect that to take about 500 hours and multiple playthroughs. The game is a long game anyway, and you can't get everything you need to get on the initial playthrough. So you will have to unlock later difficulties in order to get the platinum. But we'll talk about all of that as we go through. For today, we're going to be starting off by heading through the initial section of the game, of course. I am going to skip most of the cutscenes to begin with, because I covered those in the last episode when we did our first 40 minutes of playthrough. Although I am starting the game from the beginning so that I can give you my walkthrough commentary, something I didn't do in the last video. Okay, so let's get started here. One thing I will say about this game is that it does have its faults. It's a heck of a lot of fun, but there are some issues with it that you do have to put up with. In particular, the characters are a little bit dodgy at times. Some of the characterization does not work, in my opinion, and the story is very, very cliche. That said, the gameplay mechanics and the actual progression system in this game is literally second to none. It is so much fun. There is so much to do, and I believe firmly that if you like the JRPG genre, then you will really, really enjoy Star Ocean The Last Hope. Okay then guys, so that's enough of an introduction from me. We're going to be getting stuck in with episode 1. Here we go. There are 4 difficulty levels in The Last Hope, and Universe level is unlocked once you've completed the game on Galaxy level, and then Chaos is unlocked once you complete Universe. Chaos is very, very difficult indeed, and as you can probably guess, some of the trophies are tied to the Chaos level difficulty, so straight away you're going to have to work through the game from start to finish at least 3 times if you want to get the platinum. Since we've already covered these opening scenes in the last video without my commentary, I'm going to go ahead and skip out on the cutscenes here, and we'll get straight into the action. Right, so we first get control of the main protagonist, Edge Maverick, at this point, and we have to go through the battle simulator. Well, I'll say we have to. You can go ahead and actually quit immediately, and you're not penalised for doing so. But if you're not familiar with the game, I highly recommend spending a few minutes going through some of the tutorials here. In particular, I highly recommend practicing some of the blindside tutorials, since the blindside technique is something you're going to make use of a heck of a lot throughout your adventure. So the way it basically works, and you can see it in action here, is if you're holding 0 down on the PS4 controller, or circle, sorry, on the PS4 controller, as an enemy is targeting you, you'll get this target lock appear on the character you're controlling. And if you then use the analog stick, you can initiate a blindside attack, which will bring you round to the other side of the enemy that's attacking you, and you'll do extra damage, and you can unleash some powerful combos, etc, etc. Now, that might sound a little bit confusing, but if you follow the tutorial, you will get it in no time, and it is very important that you do so, because if you don't master this technique quite early on, you are going to struggle. But as I say, it probably sounds more confusing than it actually is. There's a little bit of information on blindside counters as well. I'm not going to go into that myself here, because I think that's just going to add more confusion to an already confusing topic when I'm just spieling it out to you. But do check that out in the tutorial as well. The blindside counter system, in my opinion, is a little bit harsh. It's not very forgiving, but it is in the game, so it is something that's worth getting yourself familiar with. And once you've had enough time in the battle simulator, just go ahead and quit that at your leisure.
Yes, their departure.
Now, cutting out the cutscenes isn't something I'm going to be doing with the episodes going forward, but for now we are, since I've already covered these opening cutscenes on that first video I made. But I do want to go through the walkthrough with you. So once we get control of Edge once more, you can explore the ship a little bit if you want to, though there's not a whole lot to do at this point. You can go into Edge's bedroom here, or his quarters, and save at the save point. although there is another save point coming up as well in a moment. But ultimately you're going to want to head down here into the recreation room. There's that other save point. And from here you can head out onto the flight deck. But let's just go ahead and save our game first. Okay. So you can play this on PC as well. If you are, then you should be absolutely fine to follow this walkthrough along as well. And one thing I do like to do when I'm playing Star Ocean The Last Hope is just change the menu here to classic mode rather than to the standard default version. There we go, the visual style. I'm going to set this to classic. You can change the screen resolution as well on PS4, but because I'm recording, 1080p is the most we're going to get. And it's interesting you get some other graphical options as well, even on PS4. It's nice to see those included, since there's multiple PS4 consoles available now with different powers, different components. So here we have the meeting room, if you just want to get yourself familiar with some of these locations. Although we can't do anything here yet. Although the item creation system and synthesis in this game is very, very powerful. We're going to be spending a lot of time here. But obviously not at the moment. So now we are going to head back out through this doorway and onto the flight deck. And what you want to do to proceed is just either speak to Raimi, who's standing there, or interact with the consoles over here.
Mr. Maverick. Sir.
After the next set of cutscenes then, we're going to have crash landed on the planet of Aeos. And we're going to be exploring the planet in due course. But for now, once we find ourselves outside immediately, the first course of action that we're going to want to take is to run straight back aboard the ship. And there's a couple of optional things we can collect by doing so. So we do need to go for all of the collectibles here, which is something I'm going to be explaining to you throughout the walkthrough. And that begins immediately, so that's why we're heading back now. And a lot of the items that we get, or the collectibles we get, aren't items that we use per se, but they're added to our collections tab, and generally contain bits of information, such as recipes, or just, you know, interesting reading information, or whatever the case may be. So the first thing we're going to want to pick up is the spaceship data just there. So there's 2 pieces we can collect from either side of the console here. And we do need to get both of those. And if you head over to the menu, you can view the collection data you've picked up by going to collections and then looking at it through the various options. So there's the spaceship data we've gone ahead and collected. And the Calnus is our main hub of operations, if you like. We are going to be coming back here quite regularly throughout the course of the game. But for the time being, we're going to exit the flight cockpit area. And we're going to speak to an NPC that's located just on the other side by the stairs here. This is Van, and he's going to give us some more data. In this case, it's going to be recipe memo number 5. Let's go through the dialogue. I'll try not to rush through it, since a few people do question me on that, or point that out to me in some of my other walkthroughs, that they can't read it because I'm so quick. So I will try and bear that in mind. Although it is the most natural thing in the world once you've read the dialogue to skip to the next bit of information. But I will try and hold back against the natural inclination for as much as I can anyway. Okay, so if we head over here, then in one of these there's some more data we can pick up. There we go. On the F98 assault rifle. And for now we've collected all the data on the ship that we can get. So we're going to head back towards the cockpit. But instead of actually going into the cockpit or the flight bid area, we're going to head south down this narrow corridor. Just here. And this will take us back outside of the ship, where there's a few other bits we can do. But before we do anything else, such as exploring this area, we're going to speak to these guys here. There's Daniel, and there's his friend just over the way, just next to him. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. Rich, that's the one. And you need to just sort of speak to these guys. It's a little bit awkward multiple times. I don't know if there's a specific order you have to do this, but you can get these sniper band thingies from either one of them, but you do have to just speak to them both a few times. The sniper bangle in order to get that. And then as soon as you've collected it, you can go ahead and equip it as a wrist accessory. There we go. And there are some treasures to collect in this area, but we're going to be doing that in a few moments' time. For now, once we've gone ahead and equipped our shiny new bangle, we're going to look out for Raimi, just by the save crystal over here. And you might just want to save before you actually do so, because that's going to kick off a set of cutscenes that's going to lead into our first real battle of the game, not including the battle simulator. And we're going to be fighting a pair of Aeophagus, I believe they're called. Aeophagus, something along those lines. Some strange name anyway. So it's these giant spider creatures. And they're not too challenging in all honesty. They look far more intimidating than they actually are to battle, quite frankly.
And that means I can do this! Bring it on! We're just getting started!
So this is a solo battle with Edge against two enemies here. But all you really need to do is just mash the X button in order to, you know, take them out. So you can go ahead and use circle to dodge the attacks. And they do kind of lift their legs up when they're about to attack you, just to give you that bit of warning. You can also get some blindsides off as well. But you don't even need to do that in my opinion. You can just literally smash them. So take this battle as another practice battle really. A battle where, yeah, technically, you can die and get game over. But you'd have to be really trying, I think, to actually do that. So you might see something up in the top on the enemy saying rush. And also the word rush on Edge as well. His bottom of his 3 bars. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It's not really important at the moment. But it is going to be an important system, as I say, a little bit later. But that's all there is to that battle. And you have a board, an experience board in this game, so that you can actually increase bonuses to experience, to foul, and to skill points. Well, no, to experience and to foul as you go through consecutive battles. Okay, so it looks like we've taken care of the first enemies here. So we're going to head back up to the spaceship at this point. Right, so what we need to do now is just make our way back to the flight deck and go through another cutscene.
That's where the arena is.
Let's go.
And at this point, Raimi goes ahead and joins the party. So now there's 2 of us against the local indigenous population here. And we can see her stats along with Edge's if we go to the menu. Right, so our next course of action is to take a brief detour here and collect some items that are scattered around this section. So we get the broken metal cutting blade from the chest, and as you can see, when you loot stuff, you're going to be awarded with experience and with skill points as well. Skill points we'll talk about in a little while. But there are 2 types of skill points. The skill points for the party, which anybody can spend, that's in the party obviously, and skill points for individual characters, which only they can spend. But just follow the path that I'm taking. You can also use the square button, like this, and you can keep pressing that in order to get little bursts of speed, which is one of Edge's techniques. And then just behind us here, there's another shiny we can go ahead and grab. There we go. Some iron. Okay, so we can make our way back to the spaceship area now. And there's something else we do need to pick up, and that's going to be a harvest point. So back to the save crystal. And just over here, you can see there's this green, glowy, energy type stuff. This is a harvest point, and Raimi can go ahead and harvest ingredients. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about harvesting soon. But immediately that's going to level up your, well, it's going to level Edge up to level 2 and give him some skill points. And you can see you've got the individual skill points and the party skill points, and it shows you there how you can spend them at the top with the square and X commands. So we're going to go ahead and spend some of these now. It's fairly simple to do. As you can see, you can level your skills up to level 10. Now, for the first time, I'm actually going to be recording commentary live as I play here, since I've just loaded the game up again. And one thing I want to show you about this harvest point is that you can actually get harvest points to respawn. And this is an easy one to respawn. All you need to do is head back into the spaceship and then come back out again. And look, it's back. So you can actually farm this harvest point over and over again. Not only for the items that you can get from it, and you can get all kinds of items from it, and it's random what you do get out of a pool of items that you can get, but you'll also get more experience and party SP. So I do actually recommend at this point that you spend 5-10 minutes or so just going in and out of the spaceship, respawning this and grabbing some good stuff. And the reason for this is you are going to need the skill points, and you are as well going to need the items. If you can get like 20 of each of the items that you can get from this, then that's going to be a big boost. So there we go, we've leveled up Remy as well. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes, I'm not going to do it on camera, and do some farming. I'll be right back with you. Right, so I've done a little bit of farming, only for about 10 minutes or so, and I've managed to get our characters to level 3. But we've got some nice items as well. We've maxed out our blueberry stacks to 20, so we've got some good healing, and we've got some other food as well. So we should be good to go for a good while. So I do recommend doing a little bit of farming there just to get yourself sorted. Alright then guys, well I think we'll finish off this first episode at that point, and we'll continue exploring the planet of Aeos coming in the next video, episode 2, so do come back and join me for that. Let me know what you think of Star Ocean: The Last Hope so far. And yeah, we've only really scratched the surface, so it's, I guess, a bit difficult to say if you haven't played the game before. But hopefully you'll be enthusiastic about following along with this one. Please don't forget to leave a like if you have enjoyed watching today. And be subscribed to the FuzzfingerGaming YouTube channel to be kept posted on new videos as they come out in the near future. Stay tuned.